Hi, I'm Per Sedihn, the CTO Proact. Today, I will look at how we can reduce the largest hidden cost of storage by eliminating backup as a separate process and as a separate technical architecture. Are you keeping your backups for longer than a couple of months? Then this is for you. By using contemporary disk technologies, work with definitions and re-architect the whole backup recovery design, we can bring down cost and at the same time increase service levels. Let's start by looking at the potential cost savings. This model comes from a study by Strategic Research and shows that backup is still the biggest cost of storage, eating up more than a third of your resources. This cost is not going away, but it will keep growing with your storage. So, where do we start? My advice is not to start buying new stuff, but trying to understand why we do backups and what we use them for. Very often, when I ask the question if an organization, large or small, has defined what they mean with backup and how it's related to archiving, people start shaking their heads and looking for the exit. In here lies the secret that will help you eliminate backup as a separate process and architecture. Most of us have not made the distinction between backup and archive. We mix the terms, we mix the underlying technologies, and we have not made any distinction in relation to the data being managed. This is the definition I used that will enable us to redesign our storage infrastructure. Backup and archive are complementary processes with the objectives of recovery versus long-term retention. We do backups to protect our data from logical and physical damage. It's a secondary copy of the data and we use it for recovery actions. We only keep it for weeks or a few months at the most. The archive tier, or as some say secondary tier, is the primary copy of the data. The idea is to easily find and access the data. Data is usually stored for long time periods, either because of compliance, business demand, or more commonly, no-delete policy. By liberating your primary storage from old, not changing data, we are working some magic. The remaining data is what the users are working with. It's changing a lot, and losing it, or even having slow access to it, will hurt your business. This data we will protect by using snapshot technology. Snapshots are near instant, reducing the backup window to seconds or minutes. It keeps the data online on the disk, enabling very fast recoveries. Snapshots protect you from logical errors, and if you also want to protect it from physical problems like a fire, you need to replicate the snapshots to a remote site, like a secondary data center or a service provider. This might sound expensive, but remember, this is only done for a small portion of your data, and part of the replication and snapshot functionality you most likely already paid for in your primary disk. So, what about the archive second-tier disk? This has to be low-cost SATA-based disk technology. But more importantly, it has to have a built-in function for logical and physical protection. Just a cheap disk is not good enough if we need to run traditional backup to secure it. It can be low-cost disk with built-in snapshots and replication functions. Yes, there are some to choose from now. There is also a storage technology called content addressable storage, or object-based storage, that can be an excellent fit here. It stores the data as an object that it locks from changes, and it can do local replications, so we do protect it from logical and physical errors. With this design, we have effectively protected us from logical and physical errors, and thereby eliminated the separate architecture and process of doing backup recovery. In the process, we have also increased our service levels by dramatically reducing the backup window and recovery times. Until next time, live well, store wisely.